me mateys. I am Hunter Sparrow, and welcome to Pirates Month.
What was seen as a half-baked idea, literally laughed at by audiences just from the poster and teaser, turned into one of Disney's biggest franchises. With 5 films in the lineup, one good and the others there, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies became even more iconic than the original iconic ride. To a point where instead of making the movies more like the ride, they made the ride more like the movies. They earned Johnny Depp an Academy Award nomination, made Pirates cool at a time when honestly they were kind of at the height of annoyance, and allowed Disney to finally venture into PG-13 movies. I, for one, can't wait until we get some R-rated flicks in there. There's 5 flicks to get through, and we're gonna do exactly that all this month.
Isn't that right, Will Turner?
Aye, Black Sparrow is ready to set sail.
You're not a sparrow.
I am a sparrow, a black sparrow.
Prove it.
Black sparrows are black.
Exactly. You're overqualified. Elizabeth, what should be done with him?
Captain Tam Sparrow here, savvy, and all that nautical talk.
You're not savvy, I'm savvy.
You're not savvy, I'm savvy. Savvy?
Savvy?
What?
Cut!
What the hell, man? You two are supposed to be Will and Elizabeth.
Nobody wants to be Will and Elizabeth.
The only person they remember is Jack Sparrow, and also sometimes the guy who's like Tim Curry, but he's not Tim Curry.
Geoffrey Rush.
That's the one.
And it makes sense anyway. It shows how much people wanted to be Jack Sparrow when the film came out.
And do terrible Jack Sparrow impressions like Malcolm's here.
Oh, come on. Will and Elizabeth were important too. They had so many classic lines like...
There's one about a corset, I think.
Exactly! That classic line Will said.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth said!
Let's face it, the only reason people liked these movies was for Jack Sparrow.
Now that's not true, as indicating people liked all the movies.
You know what he means, though. The success was due to him.
I still think there's more to it than that. And to prove it, I'm gonna play Will and Elizabeth, and I will let you two play Jack Sparrow.
Wow.
That's really big of you.
No problem at all. Now let me go change in the costume to prove my point.
Man, maybe he does have a point.
Yeah, if he's willing to play both characters, which... How is he supposed to do that?
I think the better question is, why is he locking the door?
Come on, hey! Why would you do this?
It's all about me, mates. Drink up, me hearties, your ho!
Released 20 years ago in 2003, Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl exceeded almost everybody's expectations. I'm really not kidding when I say audiences thought this would be one of Disney's biggest blunders. I remember people passing by the posters saying, oh my god, are they really doing this? Even when the trailers came out, I heard people laughing at how ridiculous Johnny Depp looked and that Jerry Bruckheimer was producing. Are we supposed to take this seriously, I heard somebody ask? And as it turns out, not really. Despite being marketed as a badass action flick, Pirates had a really goofy sense of humor, helmed by the same team who penned Shrek, Aladdin, and other adventures that had a comedic edge. But on top of that, it also had a twisted side to it. Director Gore Verbinski clearly liked to work with a dark edge in his work, and with Disney saying they wanted to toughen up a little bit with their first PG-13 rating, Pirates turned out to be a good outlet for him. As for Depp, yes, his performance did play a big part in the film's success, but I think we've seen he's not always the secret ingredient to a good film. I do think there's more to the series being a hit outside of just his iconic performance. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look. This is...
Hey! He's not even staying in costume!
How the hell are you seeing me right now?
We can't.
Well, keep quiet until I'm done with the review.
Well, we could still play Will and Elizabeth.
That is so 3 minutes ago, which in internet time is like 3 weeks. I'm moving on.
Can we at least get food and water?
Pirates don't talk.
That's not a thing!
This is Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Ooh, this film is too tough to have the Disney logo before it. I guess this was to show there's no more kid stuff, it's all adult now. Clearly. We open with a ship sailing the sea when a crewman named Gibbs, played by the underrated Kevin McNally, tells a young Elizabeth Swann not to sing about pirates.
Bad luck to be singing about pirates. It's bad luck to have a woman on board too, even a miniature one.
I remember that line being less ewy. She's with her father, Governor Swann, played by Jonathan Pryce. And I should point out this film has a weird way of calling back to other Disney films. Callbacks are everywhere in Disney flicks, and they're usually very clever because they work in some humor. But these are just... there. For example, he's dressed as Captain Hook. Why? Barbossa offers an apple that Elizabeth thinks is poisoned. Sure. And look, this guy said Little Mermaid!
A little mermaid flopped up on deck and told him the whole story.
Yeah, they're more distracting than funny. Now the Kraken spat out a mermaid skeleton with red hair, that would be hilarious.
Look, a boy! There's a boy in the water!
Elizabeth sees a boy in the water and alerts the crew. Is it a Viggo Mortensen?
No, it's an Orlando Bloom.
Ugh, throw him back. He's the only survivor of a shipwreck, and Elizabeth notices something he presumably stole from Atreyu.
Pirates. There's no proof of that. It's probably an accident.
Yeah, it was probably the wind. It's always the wind. The wind set the ship on fire. Cut to years later, as Elizabeth is now played by Keira Knightley, and the boy named Will grows up into Orlando Bloom.
I have a gift for you.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Isn't it?
Don't you think it'll look lovely on me? She's also introduced to a corset.
Women in London must have learnt not to breathe.
Now, Mum, you don't need that rib. You got plenty more.
We're then introduced to Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp, in what many have called one of the greatest character intros of all time. It's a great scene because this finally let people know after seeing all the ads where they make Sparrow look like a badass, oh, he's supposed to look ridiculous. Depp worked hard at getting the look and actions of this character down, but sometimes a little too hard. While most people know he heard that pirates were the rock stars of their day, so he played them like Keith Richards, many don't know that while Verbinski said yes to almost all of Depp's costume choices, he drew the line at an artificial nose that would fall off every single time he sneezed. Yeah, I think something was definitely going on with Depp's nose when he recommended that.
A ship like that makes this one here a bit superfluous, really. Apparently there's some sort of high-toned and fancy to do up at the fort, eh?
And like that, Russell Brand saw this performance and said, I can do that the rest of my life, but bad! While Commodore Norrington, played by Jack Davenport, starts proposing to Elizabeth, she passes out due to the tightness of the corset, resulting in Sparrow saving her.
Will you be saving her then?
I can't swim.
I only dog paddle.
He's discovered to be the famous outlaw, though, and immediately arrested.
These are his, sir.
A compass that doesn't point north.
No, it only points to what your heart wants, or whatever bullshit we make up in the next one pretending we had these planned all along.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
I am the original hate-watching. He manages to escape, though, and works his way into Will Turner's smithy. He breaks his chains with a wheel. Hey, these people wrote cartoons, you're gonna get a cartoon. And he runs into Turner, who tries to stop his escape.
Excellent form, but how's your footwork? If I step here... Very good.
So I'm not gonna pretend the writing in this is spectacular. It is more clever than I think people give credit for. While it is at times a little exposition-y.
You've seen a ship with black sails that's crewed by the devil.
Who makes all these?
I do, and I practice with them 3 hours a day.
Been operating on ships and settlements for near 10 years.
Adversary demands parley. You can do them no harm until the parley is complete.
There's a lot of information crammed into certain moments you might miss upon first viewing. Sparrow testing Turner's footwork is not only an excuse to have an action sequence, but it's also used to show how clever he is moving him closer towards the exit. When he pulls out the gun, it not only shows that he's a cheat, but also that he doesn't want to use it for certain reasons we'll discover later. But he will if he has to. He is still a cutthroat.
Please move. No! This shot is not meant for you.
A lot of scenes are like that, kind of doing two things at once. Sparrow is captured, though, as the film tries to remind you, oh yeah, this was based on a riot, right?
The dog is never going to move.
Excuse us if we haven't resigned ourselves to the gallows just yet.
First time. Sparrow's former ship, the Black Pearl, arrives as the golden piece Elizabeth had called to them in the water. Okay, this is gonna sound like an odd comparison, but these pirates kinda remind me of the nuns from Sister Act. In that they really didn't have to give them that much personality, but you do appreciate that every single one feels unique. They could just casted extras in these roles, but no, they went out of their way to cast character actors who really do leave an impression. I especially love this one guy who's obsessed with explosions. His crazy love for them is like a mix between Art the Clown and that weird bomber from The Tick.
Better's good, baby! Down with government!
Also, seriously, what is this guy thinking answering the door?
Candy cram.
Oh, I think too happy.
Wait, how's he know it's hot if later they say they can't feel anything? In fact, how'd this guy get hurricane knocked with that pan? Darn, movie sucks now. I thought it was good until it was bad.
Just a reminder, Sparrow doesn't get all the laughs.
We know you're here, Poppet. We will find you, Poppet.
Come on out, we're gonna play ninja.
Gaten! Hey!
Hello, Poppy.
Parley!
They find Elizabeth, but she invokes the right of parley, which means she can be taken to Captain Barbossa, played by Geoffrey Rush. And just like every role he's in, it looks like he's having a blast.
I am here to negotiate the cessation of hostilities against Port Royal.
A lot of long words there, miss. We're naught but humble pirates.
Okay, so here's the thing about Will and Elizabeth in this. They are necessary characters to anchor credibility to all the goofiness going on. And in comparing the two, Elizabeth really isn't that bad. She clearly isn't trained as a fighter, so she has to use her wits to survive, and she is good at it.
That bit of shy matters to us.
Well, I suppose if it is worthless.
She has enough charm and intelligence that I don't want to see anything bad happen to her. Will, on the other hand, is so goddamn boring.
They've taken Elizabeth. We have to hunt them down. We must save her. And where do you propose we start?
The water! A lot of this may come from Bloom wanted to play the role smooth and cool, while Verbinski kept insisting he was supposed to be a dork. It's only sword fighting that he's supposed to excel at. Everything else about him is supposed to be out of place. And he's both too suave and too bland to be out of place.
I avast!
Yeah, is that really that funny? I feel like a Nicholas Hoult, Tom Holland, or James McAvoy could pull this off with more comedy and personality. Bloom just looks like Legolas needs a bath. He doesn't leave much of an impact. With that said though, he's not awful. He has a cute moment here and there, and clearly he's supposed to be eye candy for younger viewers. But whenever there's a scene where he's the focus, I constantly have to remind myself, oh, this scene was in the movie? I totally forgot that despite seeing this several times.
You were familiar with that ship, the Black Pearl?
I've heard of it.
Thankfully he teams up with Jack Sparrow though, who agrees to help him save Elizabeth if he can help him escape and be captain once again of the Black Pearl. I feel like there's a lot of reasons that wouldn't work, but repeat to yourself, it's just a park attraction that's been turned into a movie. I should really just relax. They take command of a ship and Norrington chases after them.
Search every cabin, every hole, down to the bilges.
Be sure to bring every last man on board. All eggs in this basket. It's Dark Knight Rises rules here. Of course, Jack and Will take over the other ship and sail off with it, having destroyed the ship they left over's cannons and rudder.
That's got to be the best pirate I've ever seen.
So it would seem.
Well, maybe it's just because you suck balls.
He's the greatest pirate we've ever seen.
Will finds out that his father, named Bootstrap Bill, was indeed a pirate, much to his letdown.
Good man. Good pirate. I swear you look just like him.
Yes, they're practically identical. Again, all planned from the beginning. They travel to pick up his friend Gibbs as well as a crew at a place that seems to love and hate him at the same time.
Not sure I deserve that.
Seems like the Depp Heard trial in a nutshell. Meanwhile, Elizabeth lies about her last name, saying it's Turner, so they don't know she's the governor's daughter, but rather they're under the impression that she's Bootstrap Bill's child.
There's no need to stand on ceremony. You must be hungry.
Jesus, you pig!
This is Aztec gold. A terrible curse.
Why is it every moment he's on screen I want him to sing, I'm reviewing the situation? Wow, he actually said, arr! I'm not sure why I assumed this movie wouldn't have him do that, but it's strange to see for some reason. It wasn't even prompted. Couldn't he have at least been like, sorry, it's Talk Like a Pirate Day. We needed a break from our usual Talk Like a Bored Office Worker ritual. She discovers, though, he's working with a skeleton crew who can't die or feel anything because they're cursed. But returning the gold they stole along with her blood will lift it.
Look, the moonlight shows us for what we really are.
I'm sure I said this before, but anything supernatural that has a blank leads to blank, I usually love. Pour water on a sea creature and they're revealed. Sun rises and gargoyles turn to stone. And yeah, moonbeams revealing ghost pirates is pretty damn awesome. In my opinion, it's the most fun and creative thing in the movie. I just love it.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
And spoilers, we do make random sounds so that ghost hunters can go, what was that?
Jack and Will acquire themselves a crew, including Zoe Zeldana?
You stole my boat.
You'll get another one.
I will.
I don't need this. I have like 5 green screens to be in front of tomorrow. The ship sets sail and Gibbs tells Turner about how Jack had his ship taken away by Barbossa and marooned him on a desert island.
But not before he'd gone mad with the heat.
So that's the reason for all the...
That's a great impression of everybody's impression of him. They get to the treasure where they return the coin along with Elizabeth's blood, but they don't know if it worked.
How do we tell?
Do I need a joke for everything? Can't that just be funny?
Parlay! Damn to the depths whatever mutton they thought of parlay!
That would be the French.
Ah, the French.
Will and Elizabeth escape, but Jack gets captured and he tells him why Elizabeth's blood didn't work.
Kill him.
The girl's blood didn't work, did it?
Hold your fire!
Despite only having a few scenes together, I instantly believe the rivalry between these two. Whenever they talk, it genuinely feels like they've known each other for years, and they love getting under each other's skin, so to speak.
You know whose blood we need.
I know whose blood you need.
Jack tells him where to locate the ship, but Elizabeth has a plan of attack.
Lower the anchor on the right side. On the starboard side!
Certainly has the element of surprise.
Cannons are fired, eyes are forked up, and Jack escapes just to get captured again. Yeah, he's basically the Han Solo of this series, a smuggler who always has to be saved, even in between movies. How's that plan working out, Elizabeth? You definitely got some brains, but a pirate's life ain't for you. Oh, I mean, it's what we were always building up the whole time. You know, all the bad stuff really is in the sequels, isn't it?
Okay.
It's weird. For some reason, I don't think monkeys are funny, but people saying the word monkey is goddamn hilarious.
You took advantage of our hospitality last time. Now you return the favor.
She goes free!
Will says his blood is what they need to lift the curse and forces them to let Elizabeth and Jack go. They do so, but abandon them on the same island Jack was marooned before.
I'd be having that dress back before you go.
Goes with your black heart.
It's purple.
That be the same little island that we made you governor of on our last little trip. Perhaps you'll be able to conjure up another miraculous escape.
Yeah, why are you putting him back in the place he got out of again? Isn't that kind of like... Aw, well, I know how to solve this. Aw. Jack admits it was pure luck how he got off the island before, but Elizabeth pretends to flirt with him and get him drunk so that she can set the island ablaze.
Well, devils were black, you were really bad. You got me hot as yo-ho.
Sings about as well as he did in Sweeney Todd. Elizabeth's plan works as they're noticed by Norrington's ship and picked up. Jack has yet another way to weasel his way into an opportunity, though.
Think about it. The Black Pearl.
You will accompany these fine men to the helm and provide us with a bearing to Isla de Muerta.
Why do people keep listening to him?
Good question.
Pirates don't talk. Norrington agrees to let Jack help them capture the pearl and save Will.
Jack, it's not possible.
How did you escape from the place you escaped before? We were so careful to do the same thing! Jack tells him about Norrington's ship outside and once again gets in their good graces. This is, of course, a quintuple cross as Jack frees Will while the other pirates attack the ship. And as fun as the sword fighting is, I will admit, my favorite stuff is just Jonathan Pryce fighting this evil dead hand. It's such a weird thing to keep cutting back to during this big battle, and I love it. Jack steals a gold piece as well and ends up being cursed. I honestly don't have many notes about this climax. Fighting in and out of the moonlight is cool. This weird thing where they put a bomb in a guy's stomach is cool.
You like pain? Try wearing a corset.
That line's a little lame, but overall the finale's pretty fun. Jack uses the bullet he's been saving for years to kill Barbossa just as Turner returns the coin with his blood.
I feel cold.
Okay, so this is admittedly a weird complaint, but for years I always thought he said, I feel old, when really he said, I feel cold. I think I feel old is a better line. I just love he would feel that as he gets feeling back and begins to die. If only the writers could be as smart as my terrible hearing. The pirates go back to normal, and Verbinski on his commentary track said, this is when you realize the movie was actually kind of about something. And it sounds weird, but I know what he's talking about. These pirates spent so long trying to get this curse lifted, to stop being invincible, and now that's gone, everything else they know is about to be taken away. No words, no hammered-in symbolism, just a good, quiet moment that lets it all sink in. It's a solid scene. Once again, though, Jack is captured and about to be executed, but fear not, Will helps him escape with a rope. Really don't think it's gonna do much. Did any guard train for anything in this? Is someone gonna be like, look, salt? But it's cool. Elizabeth says she loves Will and not Norrington, so that convinces him to let Jack go.
What about Sparrow?
Well, I think we can afford to give him 1 day's head start.
I love the look on this guy, like he's saying, has everyone just gone friggin' insane? We were literally just stopped by a rope. We cannot afford to give him a day's head start.
Elizabeth, it would never have worked between us, darling.
What a silly idea we teased for 2 more movies.
Drink up, me hearty Yo-ho.
And that was Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Not perfect, but a damn good time. This is the definition of a turn your brain off movie, which is not to say a lot of people didn't need to use their brains while making it. Everyone gives the impression they're having a good time on screen. Even the ones that are a little dull still look like in a weird way they're having fun being dull. It's good to have varying degrees of believable and unbelievable, and though often cartoony, there is a bit of an edge that's welcomed with that PG-13 rating. For a film any thought would be dead on arrival, you feel the effort of everyone trying to make something odd and unique. It's a good start to a good... It's a good start. And like I said, Jack Sparrow took off and everybody wanted to be him.
To death.
Whoa, you two died? I was only away 20 minutes.
Yeah, but in internet time, that's an eternity.
Also, there's the curse of the studio.
Oh, you mean you have to walk the earth for all eternity feeling nothing?
No, we just really want mixed spaghetti from McDonald's.
Oh.
I never even had mixed spaghetti.
It's terrible.
But I want it.
They discontinued it because it was so terrible.
But I want it.
And I hate that I want it.
Come on, let's go hit ourselves in silence.
Huh. Pirates Month has just begun! Pirates Month continues, and after the smash hit of The Black Pearl, Disney sensed they had a franchise on their hands and decided to give Pirates not 1, but 2 sequels shot back to back. Because you know, Matrix did it so well. Released in 2006, the hype around Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest was crazy. Everyone had pirate fever, and despite the film not getting the best reviews, audiences still had a great time with it. And I guess I'm somewhere in between. This film has a lot of flaws that are easy to point out, but the fun moments are really, really fun. There's so many chases and lines and visual jokes that still stay with me years later, and I don't know if I'm still laughing at them after all this time. It must be doing something right. But yes, even diehard fans of this movie can agree it's got some problems. So let's take a look at where it continues the fun and where it drops the cannonball. This is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Why is this happening?
I don't know.
Well, kids, I can already spot 2 mistakes. Can you? Very good! Will and Elizabeth are back for absolutely no reason. Yeah, their story ended. It's Jack and his crew that was hinting at more adventures, but for some reason they're put back in the spotlight as Norrington 2.0 Cutler Beckett, played by Tom Hollander, arrests Will for aiding in Jack Sparrow's escape, on his wedding day no less.
It's bad luck for the groom to see the bride before the wedding.
This warrant is for Elizabeth Swann.
My mistake. Arrest her.
It's also bad luck to arrest the bride before the wedding.
Cut to a prison where guards are throwing dead prisoners into the water. Once again, Jack Sparrow is given a pretty great entrance. I think only wrestlers had better entrances than him. He gets to his crew who are pissed he's wasted so much time, but he has the first clue to finding valuable treasure.
We're expecting something a bit more shiny. What is on that piece of cloth there?
A penis.
It is a drawing of a key.
They set sail to find this key to unlock a mysterious treasure while Beckett makes a deal with Turner. He says if he brings back Jack Sparrow's compass, he'll let him go. Why? Well, it turns out the compass isn't broken, which added to Sparrow's enjoyable oddness. No, it turns out it's a magic compass that points to whatever you really want.
This compass does not point
north. It points to the thing you want most in this world.
Yeah, there's a lot of stupid retconning like that in this. Speaking of which, oh my god, that looks just like Orlando Bloom!
Bootstrap Bill Turner.
Stellan Skarsgård plays Will's father, Bootstrap Bill, the guy they said twice looked exactly like him.
I swear you look just like him.
It's a spitting image of old Bootstrap Bill. Come back to haunt us.
I bought Fozzie and Kermit as identical twins in the Great Muppet Caper more than this. And he warns Jack that Davy Jones is after his soul.
You made a deal with him too, Jack. He raised the pod from the depths for you. Jones's terrible Leviathan will find you.
He is the angriest of the monkeys. Jack is marked and makes his way to an island where the crew is captured by a tribe that thinks Jack is a god who has to be cooked to be released. Will finds him on that island next to, honestly, a very impressive set piece.
Jack! Jack Sparrow!
Ah, yes, thank you. All the other Jacks on the island were confused. Why are you in this?
Jack?
Lam say uniki. Simpstip.
Okay, so here's the thing. This entire section is pretty pointless. It's 20 minutes long, adds nothing to the story or characters. You could just have Will meet Jack at sea and accomplish the same thing in literally a minute. However, this is some of the most enjoyable stuff in the movie. The slapstick is funny, the visuals are creative, the twisted sense of humor is great.
Where's the rest of the crew?
These cages we're in weren't built till after we got here.
So here's what I think. I think the movie should have started here. Yeah, I know I did this with Anastasia and Ghostbusters 2, but what if the film began with Will seeing the ship? You'd save 20 minutes in a movie that's been criticized, even by fans, for being too long. Because weirdly, everything they set up is repeated again.
The compass. That's all I need. Elizabeth is in danger. We were arrested for trying to help you. She faces the gallows.
If you opened here, these scenes wouldn't be pointless. They tell us what happened in between movies and serve as a fun, adrenaline-pumping reintroduction to everyone. Imagine Elizabeth being introduced in jail and breaking herself out, while explaining the film's plot again.
You sent Will to get you the compass owned by Jack Sparrow.
Imagine not wasting all this time with characters just talking about what they're gonna repeat in a little bit anyway. Really, all you'd miss is this cool intro from Jack, but honestly, imagine this was his intro. Wouldn't that kind of be even more attention-getting? For a series that's said to get more and more complicated as it goes along, this would have been a very effective way to cut out a lot of fat. But like I said though, it is pretty fun.
What about Jack? I won't leave without him. Time to go.
Jack! Start the engine! Get it up!
Don't worry, kids, he tasted great. Jack tells Will that he'll give him the compass, but only under one condition.
If you will help me to find this.
A penis? He agrees, but Elizabeth is already several steps ahead as she escaped and is trying to find Will.
We have a stowaway on board. A young woman, by the look of it. I want you to search the ship and find her.
Oh Christ, I'm not even a member of the crew and I can tell she's right there!
I always know the wind was going to blow you back to me one day.
Jack makes his way to a witch doctor named Tia Dalma, played by Naomie Harris in yet another role where I said, holy shit, that was her! As they hope she can help them on their quest.
We're looking for this.
A penis. Don't worry, only 1/3 of the review is that joke. She says the key opens the dead man's chest, which holds the heart of Davy Jones, who gave it to a woman, not the sea.
No. I heard it was the sea he fell in love with.
Same story, different versions, and all are true.
The scene stands out for a sadly unique reason. It's the only moment in the movie where the writing is doing two things at once. She talks about Davy Jones falling in love with a woman, and we find out in the next film that she's that woman.
It was a woman as changing and harsh and untamable as the sea.
But unlike the first movie where a lot of info is snuck in to save time and makes rewatching a lot more fun, almost all the writing in this is what you hear is what you get. It's exposition with jokes and sometimes the same exposition repeated again.
Bring back that compass or there's no deal.
The compass. That's all I need. Elizabeth is in danger.
You sent Will to get you the compass owned by Jack Sparrow.
That's one of the reasons I think it was a mistake to do these films back to back. They knew they had another movie, so they didn't feel they needed to condense the writing. But because of that, they spend way too much time explaining, and there's little to no layers in the dialogue. Even the stuff they do build up, like the jar of dirt.
This is a jar of dirt.
Does come back, but not in a clever way. Again, you can write this out and miss nothing but a few memes. But okay, screw it, some of these memes were worth it.
They're told to find Davy Jones' ship, and sure enough they do, along with his crew and Davy Jones himself, played by Bill Nighy.
Do you feel this?
And I gotta give credit, Jones still looks pretty damn good. While he's not quite the effects landmark something like Gollum was, he's still a pretty damn decent effect, with a cool design and strange mannerisms that only the guy who voiced Grand Santa could come up with.
So we've established my proposal is sound in principle, now we're just haggling over price.
Price?
Did his mouth just fart? Apologies, one of these holes had Taco Bell and this hole just butt cheeks it out. So because we're in a LucasArts game and not a movie, yet another side quest is established and Jack needs to get 99 souls to balance out his payment to Jones while he also holds on to Will.
3 days.
Hey look, I found his clitoris. Going to commercial on that? To Tortuga to find 99 souls. Yeah, let's just put all the right references here, that works. And oh boy, if you were excited to see Will and Elizabeth return, guess which other crowd favorite they brought back?
Commodore? No, not anymore. Weren't you listening?
Yeah, Norrington was so popular in the first film, they're like, let's put 2 in this one. Yeah, I guess you couldn't afford to give him a day's head start, could you? With that said, I'm a simple man, and I love bar fights that start for absolutely no reason. Seriously, a guy could be like, I'll have the toast.
The fight words!
Secure the last tackle, Mr. Turner!
Back on Jones's friggin' awesome ship. Seriously, did I mention yet everything around this character is designed great?
Down on your marrow bones and pray.
Okay, Seaweed Shrek's a little weird, but whatever. Will is reunited with his father. Again, imagine, we start 20 minutes later, and this would be your introduction to Bootstrap Bill. Wouldn't that be more interesting?
It's my son.
5 lashes beyond, I believe it is.
I guess I do have to make up for many fatherly spankings. This is for the desolation of Smog! This is for that weird Three Musketeers remake! And this is for whatever the hell that third Hobbit movie was called! He catches up with Dadu and lets him know what he's doing there.
Until I find this. A penis.
Okay, maybe 2/3 of the review. Well, here's a question I'll be asking a lot in the third one. What the hell?
The dead man's chest. Tree ship, some call me.
He reveals Jones has the key while back on Tortuga. Elizabeth gives away her disguise.
Come to join me, crew, lad?
I'm here to find the man I love.
I'm deeply flattered, son, but my first and only love is the sea.
You may want to ask that sailor over there.
I think women and seamen don't mix.
Should it be a dress or nothing? I happen to have no dress in my cabin.
With a woman still in it. Norrington as well tries to work his way on board, though he doesn't believe the stories of the dead man's chest.
You don't actually believe him, do you?
How would we find it?
I can't believe you're not taking me seriously. It's the pig shit, isn't it? It's the pig shit. Meanwhile, Will and Jones are playing Lying Dutchman with dice, and again, while Jones is great to watch, Will is so goddamn boring.
7 5s.
8 5s.
Like, I am trying to care whenever he's on screen, but having even the slightest interest in him is like advanced trigonometry. I just don't see how I'm supposed to do it. He gets the key from around Davy Jones's neck while he sleeps, which I have to admit makes this badass character look pretty dumb and lame. And meanwhile, Elizabeth has to wonder, does she actually love Jack? Yeah, the notion that was literally used as a joke in the last film.
It would never have worked between us, darling.
Is now being presented as a legit possibility.
There was a time when I would have given anything for you to look like that while thinking about me.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, I think you do.
Oh my god! I am so telling the other pirates.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Will escapes off the Dutchman, but Jones sends the Kraken after him. Which honestly is another pointless scene. It's been talked about, teased earlier. It's going to be the climax of the film, and Liam Neeson doesn't even announce it. Why do we need to see it pointlessly take down this ship just to have Will get right back on the Dutchman? It's not even that great an effect. Like, it's passable, I guess, but not enough for 2 long, major action sequences around it. Oh wait, it was to honor the true victims of the slaughter, 18th century fashion.
No, really, they cut to this dress twice. This movie just loves to show stuff so it can show stuff. Speaking of which, let's dive more into Elizabeth's psyche, I guess.
I just thought I'd be married by now. I'm so ready to be married.
Who frickety who?
Yeah, who gives a shit? It's obvious they have no idea what to do with Will and Elizabeth, so they're just like, I don't know, she likes him now. Maybe? Did she say something about a corset? Yeah, we were done! We don't know what they're doing here either, we're doing the best we can. At last, they finally get to the dead man's chest. When I say they, I mean everyone.
Will, you're all right, thank God.
How did you get here?
I don't know, the script is bonkers. Everyone tries to backstab each other to get the chest, and yeah, this is where the film gets fun again. I can barely remember what led up to all this, but the visual humor and action pieces are really creative and pretty laugh-out-loud funny. This whole fight scene is like watching a goofy sports cartoon. It just gets sillier and sillier, but by God, it's damn impressive the way they choreographed all this. Scenes like this are what make me overlook the problems and say, you know, screw it, I'm having a good time. It's just a note. My heart was really the friends I made along the way. Oh, come on!
Right.
Bloom's one funny scene per movie. Sparrow puts the heart in the jar of dirt, but Norrington takes it for himself, once again making the jar pointless. But you know what? This stupid scene does make me giggle.
I got a jar of dirt, I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
I don't know, I just answer one meme with another. Jones again releases the Kraken, causing Jack to run away. Great, we got Will and Elizabeth to focus on for a while. Focusing on them is like being stuck at a party with a person you know but can't think of anything to talk about to save your life. It's not the worst, but god damn it. Jack does return though and saves the day, but the movie remembers, oh yeah, it wants to be Empire Strikes Back, so it decides to leave Jack behind. Later tonight, darling. Hey!
It's after you, not the ship.
Spent the whole fight on a rowboat and the Kraken still went after the ship. But oh, I can feel Disney Plus is getting ready to recommend something better, so I'll let it slide.
Where's Jack?
He elected to stay behind to give us a chance.
Bloody hell, I have. Help! I know you can hear me, you American Horror Story rejects! You can't have this franchise without me! Disney, double down on that!
Jack is gobbled up, Jones finds he's heartless, and Norrington gives Beckett a powerful weapon.
If you intend to claim these, then you must have something to trade.
A penis? Okay, I'm done. Beckett tears, though. She says there might be a way to bring Jack back to life if they truly want him to return.
Will you sail to the ends of the earth and beyond?
Funny, seeing how you literally left him to die earlier.
Do excuse me while I kill the man who ruined my life.
Be my guest.
But you know, no, I don't actually. This leaves us on a cliffhanger with the return of a character that legit kind of surprised out of me when I first saw it.
What's become of my ship?
Still trying to make apples a thing. And that was Dead Man's Chest. I know I should know better, but I still kind of like it. And it's hard, I think it just wants to be fun, and I think it does have enough of those moments. You have to wait a long time through a lot of pointless filler to get to it, but it does eventually deliver. I do wish they kept more focus and didn't bring back characters or story threads that aren't needed, but the visuals, imagination, and of course humor balance it out enough for me. It's not the greatest of sequels by any means, but it did leave me having just enough of a good time. Far more than what many consider the worst of the pirate films, and, well, I guess we'll be getting to that one next. Pirates Month sadly must continue.
Do you feel dead?
I envy it.
Walt Sparrow here, ready for adventure on the seven seas.
Hush, Walter!
Did you see we're mourning the dead?
What? What are you talking about?
Davy Jones has been taken down.
Oh. Maybe we finally beat the ink out of old Squidface?
No. It means the dead float aimlessly through dark waters.
Poor souls. I feel so sorry for them.
So we're gonna fight them like those skeleton pirates? Grow up! Walter!
What do you think this is, a Disney ride?
Yes! No! No! This is Pirates of the Caribbean! Serious shit!
There's the father of one of the main characters. He was hanged because he heard too much information.
There's a little boy. He was hanged because he helped some random pirates out.
Jesus, we're hanging kids now too?
We opened the movie with it, Walter!
I thought we would open the movie with fighting the Kraken or something.
No. He's dead too.
Wow, this all seems very different from before.
What are you talking about, Walter? This was all planned from the beginning!
From the development of the ride
to the green lighting of the first movie, everything was building up to Pirates of the Caribbean being the most dramatic thing ever made!
So toughen up, Walter. It's a pirate's life for us.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. It's about the cruelty of mankind.
Aye.
The slaughter of innocents.
Aye.
The death of children.
Aye.
The auctioning of women.
Whoa, 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 Mr. Psychopath over here.
But
Walter, I thought I knew you.
But I thought we were...
Get out of here, man. I can't even look at you. Jeez, just talk about hanging kids and he had to go and make it weird.
What does he think we are, pirates or something?
Oh, hey, there's Tamara's role this week before she got sick. Finally come to it, what many consider the worst of the Pirates films, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Originally meant to end the Pirates trilogy, the film became the most expensive movie ever made at that point, and clocked in at 2 hours and 50 minutes. Not that the pirate movies have been particularly short, but the film suddenly decided it wanted to be heavy and serious, almost like it wanted to take that pirates changing back at the end of the first film and milk it for all it's worth. But that moment felt appropriately built up. This film started without a finished script, and brother does it show. So many things set up in the first film and even the second film are either dropped or drastically altered. This wouldn't be too bad if the movie still had some laughs, but because somebody decided we want to be Schindler's List for some reason, the film takes itself way too seriously. It was panned by critics, not particularly liked by audiences, and often serves as a punchline for unbearable sequels to sit through. So, is it as bad as all that? Yeah. But let's take a look at why. Because the Pirates films have always been about government control to abuse those in need.
Okay, I think I got it.
Wrong!
This is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. There's that Disney logo that shows we're in for an enchanted hanging. Yeah, it doesn't even ease you into it. It dives right into its own self-important ass, with anyone who ever has been or ever helped pirates in the past being hanged, including civilians, women, and like mentioned before, even children. Don't worry, we'll get you a booster seat for your neck breaking. What the hell am I watching? Look, if they wanted to make this heavier or darker, fair enough. A lot of things we thought would stay light have gotten heavier over the years. This is like going from Ghostbusters 1 and 2 to opening the third one like Sophie's Choice. Does the ending of the last one really match the opening of this one?
I got a jar of dirt, I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside it?
Like two perfectly fitted puzzle pieces from two entirely different puzzles. They start singing the pirate song, which is apparently what our new head villain Beckett was hoping for.
Look at them all through the darkness I'm bringing. They're not sad at all. They're actually singing.
Cut to Singapore, where we see Elizabeth and the resurrected Barbossa are trying to meet with one of the pirate lords.
Your masters expected us, and an unexpected death had cast a slight pall on our meeting.
Is she getting turned on? Yeah, many of the characters in this are quite different from the last film too. Like Elizabeth was always good at using her brains, and in between films she learned sword fighting from Will. Okay, cool. But in this one she acts like she was always a bloodthirsty pirate, and it makes no sense.
That's disgusting!
So they talk to Captain Cao Feng, played by Chow Yun-fat, who's trying to give this character some personality with, I don't know, waving his hands weird. Can you blame him? They gave this guy no character traits.
You have requests to make on me.
I find myself in need of a ship and a crew.
And a plot that'd be helpful. Oh wait, I'm being told we actually have too much plot. Would you mind taking some of ours?
A thief tried to make off with these.
He says a thief tried to break in earlier to steal his navigation of charts, and no surprise, he thinks he's connected to them. Hi, Will! Oh, that didn't help, did it? Actually, that is kind of what happens, as she reacts when they threaten to kill him.
He has no further need for it. Aha!
Gotcha! Nobody would gasp at losing Orlando Bloom. At the most they would muster in, We waste 10 minutes here until something finally happens. Yeah, get used to me saying that could have been cut. As it looks like they were followed by soldiers. Was she an animatronic from the ride?
Don't forget to check out our gift shop.
They escape with the map, which is said to take them to World's End, where they can get Jack back. I'll give them credit. With PG meaning pretty much nothing nowadays, this is the most RPG-13 I've seen from this company. We see that Davy Jones is now being controlled by Beckett, who will destroy his heart if he doesn't do as he commands. This is similar to Bane being second banana to someone else. If the villain they're working for isn't as interesting, it simply isn't fun.
It's nothing personal, Jack. It's just good business.
They really try to make Beckett the big bad guy in this, as he wants to destroy all pirates, and he's just not written or acted in that enjoyable a way. Maybe if he was a charming stuffed shirt like Belloc or Donovan, or even comically annoying like Joffrey or Prince John, I could get behind that. But I ironically end up hating this guy because he's not fun to hate. He's just boring. Davy Jones was cool, he had an awesome backstory and design, he had a neat way of talking. This guy just acts like that kid who brags about how he got to play the newest video game first.
This ship do as directed.
And yet here you are.
Captain is to sail it as commanded.
You're mad. The immaterial has become immaterial.
I got the new Grand Theft Auto before you did.
Don't worry though, the amazing charm of Will and Elizabeth will once again entrance you.
How long do we continue not talking?
Once we rescue Jack, everything will be fine.
Then we rescue Jack.
Trust me, a lot of people are hoping that's true. They find themselves tossed over a waterfall that leads to random audio from the ride. Okay, that is the laziest way yet to tie this all back to the source material. In the first film, it was like 4 callbacks. In the second one, maybe 2. I bet you anything at the last minute they were like, oh shit, we have nothing from the ride. Quick, Harry, record the ride audio on your phone and we'll just put it in the movie somewhere. And a mere half hour in, we're finally given our intro of Jack, which once again is pretty memorable.
Step lively! With a will! Right away! Up on the fire down below!
Okay, so I do legit like that Jack's punishment in Davy Jones's locker is being surrounded by other versions of him. I'm not sure if this is his unique punishment or if he just went mad and is seeing things or whatever, but it's fitting. Even if sometimes it does go a little too abstract. Yeah, why do I get the feeling the Gore Verbinski that directed this would have said yes to Jack's artificial nose in the first movie? Don't ask your parents what that means, kids. If you haven't already left the theater crying. Or fell asleep. Yeah, again, this scene's like 8 minutes long. It's like being stuck in the world's most abstract escape room. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I mean, what are we supposed to wait for rocks to start walking? Even they want to get the hell out of this scene. Tia gives new meaning to the term I got crabs as she has the creatures bring them the pearl and Jack. Jack, however, is reluctant to go back after Elizabeth killed him off.
4 of you have tried to kill me in the past. 1 of you succeeded. Oh. She's not told you.
Ah, so you haven't told them your little secret.
This apparently makes Will even more angry, which... wouldn't he be happy after that? He thought she liked him and she ended up killing him. Isn't that a good thing? Nope, we have to have a pointless rift between them, so now he's angry that she lied to him.
You chose not to tell me.
It wasn't your burden to bear.
But I did bear it, didn't I?
I've seen couples argue over rom-coms that tested their relationships more than this.
Good. This should be in the care of Davy Jones.
Even Tia seems different. Like, remember in the first film how much fun she was? She was cracking dark jokes, flirting, and celebrating what a twisted world we live in. Now she's a total wet blanket. Like, everything she says has to be so goddamn serious.
There is a cost must be paid in the end. The worst fate a person can bring upon himself. To be with she who love him truly. Do not forget it was by my power. Trapped in this single form.
Like someone who hears a joke about the Titanic and reminds you, oh, people died. Never forget the rapping dog. But we can pretend to depress you even more as hundreds of souls pass through the haunted shores because Davy Jones isn't there to guide them. One of them being Elizabeth's father.
Father!
Elizabeth!
Take the line!
No thanks, I think I'm happier out of these movies. In all seriousness, Pryce does play this very well. I legit believe he's lost in between worlds, and all of that really is from his acting.
Are you dead?
I think I am. Well, maybe it's an extension of my mental breakdown, substituting a kind of reality in place of a bureaucratic nightmare. Either way, it's confusing.
I learned that if you stab the heart, yours must take its place.
They're told that whoever stabs Davy Jones's heart will have to replace it with their own heart and become captain. Jack mulls it over, and I'll give him this. This is a creative way to do exposition.
The Dutchman must have a captain. Well, that's even more than less than unhelpful. Sail the seas for eternity.
The sequel to Inside Out is a little bit more loaded than I thought it would be. They finally figure out the way back is to capsize the ship before the green flash at sundown takes place. And okay, I know this is basically a cartoon, but how the hell did they tie themselves like that? Howee! What a predicament! The guns don't work, and they try to figure out what steps to take next. Along the way, they see that Davy Jones was forced to put his bet down. It's okay, he told him about the rabbit shrimp before he did. They're captured, though, by Captain Sao Feng, who made a deal with Beckett and also a deal with Turner, creating, oh no, an even bigger rift between him and Elizabeth.
I need the pearl to free my father.
Oh, right, an hour in, and I forgot he was even a character. Hell, I think they forgot even the reason they were getting Jack. In the last movie, it was because they missed him. They traveled to the end of the world for him. They were freaking crying over him.
Would you sail to the ends of the earth?
Aye.
Yes.
Now suddenly it's because the pirate song is sung and they have to save everyone else. They apparently didn't even like him.
Did no one come to save me just because they missed me?
The monkey's the most consistent character in all the movies. They're sent to Beckett, and Jack has a conversation with him that lasts 6 minutes. Now, that doesn't sound too long, but when it's nothing but confusing plot exposition, you start to feel like one of those brain-dead souls in those rowboats.
The belligerent homunculus and his friend with the wooden eye.
The black pearl was to be mine.
That's so it was. Exchange for fair compensation. Clear my debt with Jones.
Lord Beckett's not going to give up the only shippers can outrun the Dutchman.
The rest go with me aboard the Pearl, and I'll lead you to shipwreck.
Elizabeth is not part of any boat.
Out of the question.
What's not the question? With me killed, you'd arrive at the cove.
Then we have an accord.
Find it a stronghold nigh impregnable.
Seriously, it's almost like we're watching the writers trying to figure out what the hell is supposed to happen next. I want to hear the guy from Life of Brian say, I'm making it up as I go. So like 5 deals are made, including one where Elizabeth basically gives herself to this captain because it'll piss off Will.
Done.
They are pirates.
I have had more than enough experience dealing with pirates.
Yeah, you got your priorities straight. And Sparrow escapes, agreeing to be a spy for Beckett. And at an hour 15, the entire running time of many decent adventures, not including the credits, we're not even at the halfway point yet. Well, screw it. I need a moment to process a very important question.
Why is the rum gone?
You know damn well why it's gone watching this. So Elizabeth is at the hands of Captain Sao Feng as he, for some reason, confuses her for the goddess Calypso.
And you will be free, Calypso.
Now, don't get me wrong, Calypso is in this movie and she's Tia, because of course she is. But what makes him think this random woman he stumbles across is her?
And what do the brethren have? Calypso.
Maybe I missed something, but in a film that's 3 hours of explaining pointless side quests, could you blame me?
And I will take your fury.
Yeah, how's that plan on showing Will up? This is like Peach showing up Mario by going to a dragon convention and then being shocked when something bad happens. They're attacked, though, by the Dutchman, as his final request is that Elizabeth take over as captain.
You are captain now. Go my place.
Wow, you're making Kirk's rise to captain in 2009 Star Trek look pretty coherent compared to this.
Elizabeth.
She's reunited with Norrington. Want to make out on trying to get back at Will, as well as Bootstrap Bill.
You know my name.
Yes, I know your son.
I swear you look just like him. So much friggin' stuff happens and doesn't happen in the next 15 minutes. It's enough to make you envious of the people in the opening.
Will sends breadcrumbs of dead men to Beckett. Sparrow kicks him off. Norrington frees Elizabeth. Bootstrap Bill goes nuts and kills Norrington. Will reaches Beckett. He says he can lead him to the pirates. The pirate lords meet up and talk for another 15 minutes on top of the other 15 minutes of mindless talk we just had. Christ, maybe there was humor in all this, because the other films went back and forth a lot too, but they mixed it up with good jokes and surreal visuals. There aren't nearly as many jokes in this, weird in a movie that starts by hanging a kid. And the visuals are so drab and boring. I feel like if the color palette of The Matrix could puke, this whole film would be its vomit. Also, the other films kept adding stuff, new characters and creatures and so forth. Here we have the Pirate Lords, but honestly they don't do much. They look cool, I want to know more about them, but they just kind of scream at each other and that's it.
This is madness.
This is politics.
No, it's not true. At the center is a guy who barely knows where he is half the time. Well, they have this guy talk funny and pretend they built up what his voice would sound like. They didn't, but whatever. And they even have Keith Richards. Holy shit, the guy Jack Sparrow was based off of is playing his father, and they do nothing with him. He's just there. Actually, no, him just being there would be funny, like a walk-by cameo or something. But instead, they give him these empty lines that somehow leave less of an impact than if he had no lines.
Code is the law. You're in my way, boy. Sea turtles, mate. Barbossa is right. Not likely.
Granted, I do dig this line.
It's not just about living forever. The trick is living with yourself forever.
All right, that's not bad. Now get over here!
The only scene that kind of works is between Davy Jones and Tia, who's been revealed as Calypso. Maybe it's because these two actors are so odd and talk in such over-the-top ways, but for the short time they have, I do legit believe their bizarre romance together. Honestly, I kind of wish they had their own movie.
Would you love me if I was anything but what I am?
My heart will always belong to you.
Also, there is something funny about Bill Nighy finally being able to show his real face, and it's still covered in so much other shit you can't recognize him. I think Lorenzo Music showed his face more as Garfield than Nighy is Davy Jones.
You be the cur that led these wolves to our door.
This leads to, you guessed it, more people meeting up and just talking, as Beckett and the pirates make a switch between Jack and Will. Jones can't touch dry land for 10 years at a time, and as much as this movie is overwritten, goddammit, couldn't they show how they got Davy Jones in that bucket there? Did they carry him in the bucket? Did they put the bucket on land? They had to make a big jump into the bucket? Did he nudge the bucket with the weight of his feet to move it? This film needs more humor, and I would have laughed my ass off at this.
Do you fear death?
I think he fears a lot of things coming in the future. The pirate's plan is to release Calypso from her human bond and ask for help.
Someone must speak the words, Calypso, I release you from your human bond. It must be spoken as if to a lover.
And seeing how I look like a half-burned Captain Crunch, obviously it'll be coming from me.
You didn't say it right.
But Wooden Eye Pirate says it the right way because he apparently had the hots for her? I don't know, this film focuses on stuff it doesn't need to and ignores all the stuff it shouldn't, causing her to grow in size. Honestly, a pretty decent effect.
Calypso!
We kneel before your giant cooch. Should I be censoring half these words? I think a lot of these are YouTube no-nos now. She gets a bad case of the crabs again, and they think she abandoned them. But Elizabeth, now totally a pirate captain, guys, gives an encouraging speech to rally the troops that I don't believe they get behind for 1 minute.
You will listen to me. Listen! They will hear the ring of our swords and they will know what we can do!
Okay, so she's not half-assing it. You can tell she's putting in the effort, but she's just not convincing.
They will see free men and freedom!
I've only seen this pirate lord for a few minutes and I completely believe that's a pirate captain over Elizabeth.
Gentlemen, hoist the colors.
Again, if she was calculating and cunning like before, or maybe even just an honest sword fighter whose humble honesty wins them over, I'd buy that. But screaming when you put your hand in a pile of goo that used to be your best friend's face, I'm just not seeing it. The speech works though as the massive army of pirate lords and the massive army of British Navy line themselves up to watch just 2 ships duke it out. Right? They were building up this giant epic battle. Everyone needs to get involved, and it's just 2 ships spinning around like they're in a potty.
Dude, even if you just said the other ships were fighting while these two were spinning around, I don't even need to see it. I just need to know it's happening, and they're not just sitting there like people who have money on an internet boxer. Why the hell did all these people show up?
Calypso.
The only one who does anything is Calypso, who I guess is causing the storm and whirlpool, but I don't know, why couldn't she just lightning strike all the ships herself then? Normally I wouldn't care that much, but because you spent literally hours over explaining everything, I want every goddamn T crossed and every I dotted.
Race up yours, you cockheaded decade! Die is the day worth living for!
That was complete gibberish. Rush just wanted to see if anyone would call him out on it. Meanwhile with Jack, I'm not even gonna bother. But he does break free and gets a hold of Jones's heart. You want to know one of the signs you're watching a bad pirate movie? When you're 2 hours in and you get to your first sword fight. Think about that. There's scenes where they have swords, even an occasional moment where if you blink you miss someone getting stabbed. But this is the first time we see what most people would qualify as an actual sword fight. That's like having a Star Wars movie and nobody fires a laser until 3 minutes before the end credits. There's just some goddamn unwritten rules.
Will you marry me?
I don't think now's the best time.
In the heat of the moment, Will and Elizabeth had Barbossa marry them because, yeah, they've really shown through the majority of this film that they're gonna work.
Dearly beloved, we be gathered here today. Today that gets into the mask, you foxy cur.
Hey, remember when this movie started with a little boy getting hanged? Now it's shenanigans! And you know what? Originally I didn't like this climax. It felt too one-note and didn't give the gigantic battle it was promising. But by God, there's life and humor to it. The stunts are creative and silly, the momentum keeps your adrenaline up. I even love how Davy Jones in all the over-explained confusion has to remember if he has the key to the chest.
You can do nothing without the key!
I already have the key!
No, you don't.
I love that. Like, even he had to think, wait, did we film that? Jack does grab the key, but Will gets stabbed. And in order to save him, he forces Will's hand to stab Jones's heart.
Hold on!
Okay, I know this is supposed to be a silly pirates movie, but I just look at that thinking, G.I. Joe, parachute set! Shouting Captain Swann not included. The Dutchman arises with Will as their captain, and they take out Beckett's ship. So while this death scene is a lot of fun and hilariously over the top, I'm sorry, it's way too cool a death for this character. This guy has done so much nothing, and I don't feel any satisfaction when he gets his comeuppance. Imagine Billy Zane from Titanic or DiCaprio from Django Unchained. There's like a million other snobs I would love to see this death for, and it's wasted on this schmuck. Makes as much sense as cheering for not doing a goddamn thing. Well, we got the rest of our lives together. Want to hear some dad jokes? Barbossa steals the Black Pearl again, but Jack steals his map to the Fountain of Youth. And I do like he returns basically back to the same scenario as he started with in these movies. With that said, it looks like Turner is now the captain of the Dutchman, and he can't set foot on land for 10 years. Oh, I guess he's gonna recruit Elizabeth to be on the crew. Nah, she's good. Just a bang zoom, thank you Bloom, and she's off to live her life. Will she often join him at sea, seeing how she's a pirate lord and all? Well, actually, the end credit scene shows she got pregnant. I don't think she stayed captain after all of that, but I could be wrong. However, a fan theory suggests that when Will comes back 10 years later, the curse will be lifted. Part of some dialogue that was mentioned earlier. But in another film, they show he's still cursed at sea. So yeah, this ending's pretty lame. So much better than how they ended the first time. Oh, I mean how part 1 of this clearly planned out trilogy began. Yeah, they had no idea what they were doing. I know a lot of films are like that, having to make up shit as they go, but it really shows with this flick. And I wouldn't mind the sudden tone change, the decreasing of jokes, the flip-flopping characters, if it just wasn't so damn long. The overwriting is out of control. And yes, there is an occasional joke to help break it up, but okay, what was the first film about? Pirates trying to break a curse. What's the second film about? It gets a little more complicated, but basically Jack trying to escape Davy Jones. I, for the life of me, cannot tell you what this is about. Aside from an hour and a half too long. For the most expensive film at the time, there's too much cartoony CG. For the end of a trilogy, it never feels like it was planned out. And for what was supposed to be a lighthearted series with an edge, transformed into a complicated bore fest. It's not the worst sequel ever made or anything, but it's definitely some really bad eggs.
And that's about it for Pirates Month.
Stay scurvy, mates, and until next time,
Drink up, me hearties, yo-ho!
Wait, we still got like 2 more movies.
What?
Oh, that's right, they did make more.
No, that can't be right. Let me see. Oh, shit, they did make 2 more movies.
They're the ones everyone forgets about.
Whatever. Tamara will be playing my part then.
What are they even called? There's one called Secret of the Ooze?
Though At World's End did well, it still made less money than its predecessor Dead Man's Chest. It did still make money though. So, 4 years later, despite the films being called a trilogy, meaning stopping at 3, Disney does what it does best, takes something that made money and squeeze even more money out of it. And brother, does it exist. Give At World's End credit, it may be the worst of the movies, but I do remember it. I was actually kind of astonished how little an impact on Stranger Tides left on me. The funny thing is, this is the first film to get rid of characters that many consider dead weight, like Will and Elizabeth. Yet somehow attached even heavier dead weight with the people in this. Yeah, I really thought just focusing on Jack Sparrow finding treasure would make this more fun, but not only do they still add incredibly complicated story threads, but almost nothing about the film stands out. I guess it is shorter than the last one, clocking in at 2 hours and 15 minutes. Yikes, that's like a Pixar short compared to At World's End. But what difference does it make if you forget you even watched the movie? Well, we're gonna take a closer look and see where it all capsized. This is... I already forgot. On Stranger Tides, thank you. Boy, they laid on the budget cuts after the last one. Look at the Black Pearl. Screw that, look at the mermaids! This man says he found the ship originally searching for the Fountain of Youth and brought back Dad's Grail diary on it.
The Fountain of Youth.
That guy's a liar. Now, if you want the real Fountain of Youth, I know a guy who's been there. Cut to London, where apparently Jack Sparrow is captured and about to be executed.
Hurry, Papa, or we're missing the hanging.
It's not a hanging, dear. It's a trial. The hanging comes this afternoon.
Ah, trial by Twitter. Nah, I'm just kidding. They never give a trial. Jack once again has a great intro as we think he's the one that's on trial when in fact it's Gibbs.
Sparrow is not my name. My name is Joshamee Gibbs.
Is that so? It says Jack Sparrow here.
Ah, when Santa Christ got drunk and dressed like Will Ferrell from Zoolander. That was a fun Thanksgiving. He gets Gibbs off the hook and says he needs him to find the Fountain of Youth with the map he has.
I thought you were employed elsewhere or otherwise engaged.
But I always listened like a thief for news of the Black Pearl.
Also, Jack, nobody's buying your natural blonde. You look like Wolverine Papa Smurf. Touché. He's captured again, though. Yeah, he's April O'Neil. I'm convinced he's captured more than he roams free in these movies. And he's talked to by that guy the 90s always called, oh hey, that guy. He plays
George Augustus, Duke of Brunswick-Lundberg, Arch-Treasurer and Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire, King of Great Britain and Ireland.
That. Who's interested in finding the fountain as well, but it looks like so is another familiar face.
Afternoon, sire.
Hey, who left their Geoffrey Rush in the milk too long? By the way, am I the only one who thinks these British voices are so silly it's gonna break out into a Monty Python sketch soon?
Be rewarded with the high station you so desire.
To serve doth suffice, sire.
I understand everything.
Now, offer him some spam!
Jack, as usual, manages to get out. Okay, I'll give the film a point for swinging on a chandelier. I'm a sucker for that. And escapes into this strange cameo.
Oh. Is that it?
Asked everyone wondering, was that Judi Dench? Speaking of which, hi, I'm here to be wasted twice. In more ways than one.
I heard where you're headed. The fountain.
Keith Richards returns as Jack's dad, and he tells him he'll need 2 chalices for the fountain.
2 chalices. 2 silver. From the Ponce de Leon ship.
Odd. I'm sure this in no way ties into a dramatic payoff and or emotional twist. This film's gonna be full of surprises. Once again, though, Keith does get one solid line.
Have you been there?
Does his face look like it's been to the Fountain of Youth?
All right, that's not bad. Now get over here!
But it looks like someone is impersonating Jack, saying he needs a crew to find the fountain. And it turns out it's...
No, it's too stupid.
Indeed it is. It's his girlfriend, Angelica, played by Penelope Cruz, dressing like Jack and somehow fooling all these people.
Hello, Jack. You were the only pirate I thought I would pass for.
Jesus, how could you believe someone with eyeliner, long hair, and does everything with their palms up is a woman? You know what, maybe if they did that joke, I'd let it slide, but they didn't, so I'm not. This is stupid.
I was ready to take my vows. What were you doing in a Spanish convent anyway?
Mistook it for a brothel. Honest mistake.
The word nunnery does cause confusion in Elizabethan slang. Dang it! Why do we always corner people over trap doors in movies like this?
About the fountain, what do you know?
She reveals she's looking for the fountain as well, but he's knocked out before she can say more. Meanwhile, Gibbs is about to be hanged by Barbossa if he doesn't hand over the map.
You must lie in your bed the way you made it. What's happened to you?
You used to be so nice. He burns the map and says he committed it to memory, so he has to let him live.
All safe in here.
Well, that is very clever. I refuse to believe anyone could remember the complicated insanity of a pirate sequel's plot points.
Show a leg, sailor!
Jack wakes up aboard Angelica's ship with a crew that's half zombie, half idiot. Pretty much how you'll feel after watching most of this.
Zombie fight. Blackbeard's doing.
Yep, this film loves its tell don't show, as they reveal they have a captured mercenary. The ship is captained by Blackbeard, Angelica may or may not be his daughter, and nobody sees the captain, so they don't know if he's really there.
I'll be right honoured to welcome you aboard our world-renowned vessel of infamy. It's been zombie fight. Makes him more compliant.
Maybe to his own daughter, who loves her dear papa with all her soul.
He got captured in the raid. Rest of the ship got killed.
It's a prophecy. Blackbeard will meet his death within a fortnight.
First mate, sticking her neck for some prisoner.
I just love an audiobook of the movie you're watching, don't you? Again, I could maybe get behind this if the humor was good, but while it's not god-awful, it's not funny either. The only ones who occasionally get a giggle is the dopey crew. I think they picked really good actors to make these lines a lot funnier than they are.
You have been monstrously deceived.
We are deceptive then.
Yes.
But bizarrely enough, one of the oddest mistakes seems to be in the casting. As Jack convinces the crew to mutiny, figuring Blackbeard isn't there, but then he reveals himself, played by Ian McShane. Now, Ian McShane seems born to play Blackbeard. The appearance, the voice, I mean, just look at him. This should be right. But strangely, he seems miscast.
Chance to show the worth of your prayers. Pray he be delivered from evil?
I think it's his inflections. Every line sounds like a rehearsal take.
Would be that, first mate.
Mutiny, Captain.
Again.
Mutiny!
Aye.
Like, yeah, I'm half McShane right now, but when the camera rolls, it's gonna be full Deadwood, you know what I mean? But for whatever reason, he never gets there.
It'd be the cold breath of fate I feel down my nape, but I'll have one last fight.
He's off in a way that's not fun, it's just off. I can't even say he's really bad because bad would be something. He's just there.
A fitting last sight for a doomed soul.
We need him.
If I don't kill a man every now and then, they forget who I am.
Coward!
I don't know, compared to the passion of Barbossa or Davy Jones, weird or over-the-top performances that can be corny and odd, but also intimidating and memorable. This guy controls the ship with his sword, fires fire on his foes, shrinks ships down into bottles, and even makes voodoo dolls to control people. Yet his voice is like instant ADD. I am struggling to pay attention whenever he talks.
The quartermaster sees things before they happen. He has foreseen my death, and so the fates have spoken.
I don't want to be too mean to him because I think he is a cool actor, and sure, these guys are a lot more over the top, but I think there's a difference between a subtle performance and a, oh, I apologize, I forgot you were there.
Your crew sees you for the miscreant you are.
But I guess he is leaving more of an impact than bargain bin Will Turner. Yeah, the missionary is basically the Will Turner role just toned down, which, if you remember how bland that role was, means he's basically non-existent. But he's trying, everyone's trying, there's just no life to this, no sense of passion. That is, unless the camera's on Barbossa.
Say what robs you of your staunch heart, Gibbs, or forever leave it to the wider fields of fancy.
He really is the peanut butter cup in the trick-or-treat bag full of good and plenty.
Mermaids. Aye, mermaid waters, that's be our path.
But don't worry, none of them are black, so you can save your selective outrage.
Save yourselves!
That's a smart guy. To hell with hot women killing me, I'm gonna drown myself instead! Has this world never seen Futurama? to negotiate with Angelica via dancing, which sounds fun, but is somehow even more boring than the regular exposition.
Where we shall bathe one another in equal shares of fame.
And I'll tell you the ritual of the fountain.
Maybe because the dancing is more waddling in place? Also, nobody seems to act on their emotions towards each other. Like, I don't believe for a second these two are in love. They just say they are.
You recall Saint Dominic?
I tried to kill you in Saint Dominique.
Either or.
Angelica says she legit wants a connection with her father, but you don't feel that between these two. You barely even see them together.
I want a father, Jack. I haven't had one.
Everything is described, not felt. It's like the difference between watching a porno and hearing an instructional guide on sex. Speaking of which.
I heard it said a kiss from a mermaid protects a sailor from drowning.
Don't be a fool. Mermaids are all female, son.
They're kinda like reverse Smurfs in that way.
Lord save me.
So the mermaids are one of the few things I legit remember from this. I feel like killer versions of this creature have been done before, but they weren't really popular then, and you definitely didn't see them from Disney, so they are pretty cool. Also, I kinda love how they jump like flying fish from Super Mario Brothers. The missionary finds only one with big puppy dog eyes and stabs her. For God. And they bring her with because they need a mermaid tear for the fountain to work. Meanwhile, they let Jack lead the way, even though he's not entirely sure of his starting point.
Was that really necessary?
Lest you not know the exact whereabouts of my ship, I'd be a cautious man.
Doesn't look like you took him that far. I think kids spun and hitting a piñata would be more lost.
She cannot breathe.
She has water.
She needs air.
The missionary starts to form a bond with the mermaid, as he's one of the few showing her mercy when she has trouble breathing. Ah, doorstop. I hear Fox News uses their Bibles for that too. There's a confusing scene, yeah, imagine in these movies, where someone needs to jump off a cliff while everyone else goes another way. Angelica offers, but Blackbeard stops her. Again, nothing is shot like there's supposed to be any emotion behind it.
I'll go.
How much farther to the fountain?
Why was that even in the movie? But don't worry over explaining what should be really simple. That we got covered. For example, Blackbeard could tell Jack, jump or I'll shoot her. But instead, you see if you follow this.
Get me 6 more pistols, remove the shot from all but 2, but do not tell me which. You get to choose, Mr. Sparrow.
What? Can these movies do anything simple? If somebody wanted to wear a hat, they'd be like, oh, take the hat, turn it upside down, cut 5 holes in it, shit in it for 3 hours, and then recite a voodoo curse. That's part 1. Jack does eventually jump and says he's going after the ship that has 2 chalices. Meanwhile, our gender swap of Shape of Water continues as the missionary helps the mermaid after her case breaks. Oh, look, she turns human when she's on land. Hold my beer. And yeah, you know you've been doing these movies too long when you start reciting plot exposition on your own.
Santiago, famously captained by Ponce de Leon. Oh, there's no one there.
He makes it to the ship, as well as Barbossa, and they discover the Spanish are searching for it too and have taken the chalices. Getting into bed with this corpse of a franchise. He teams up with Barbossa's crew, including Gibbs, to try and get the chalices back, and while doing so, he reveals his plight.
What's your play, Jack?
There is a damsel.
You're rescuing a damsel?
If there's a damsel in this series that always needs to be rescued, Jack, it's you.
I may have had, briefly, mind you.
Feelings?
All right, feelings, damn you.
Oh yeah, these two have a ton of chemistry. The way they explain plot and... I don't know, can you think of anything else they did?
That must be them right there.
They find the chalices and manage to sneakily get them away. They get captured though, but fear not, Barbossa's leg has another use. It's official, he is the best character in all the movies. He also reveals that it was Blackbeard who took the pearl and shrunk it down into a bottle, and he wants to get revenge by killing him.
That give me left arm for chance of Blackbeard.
Me left leg too, I could use some Jack Daniels in that one. Jack slips free and they take down the guards with... Why are soldiers so bad at fighting a rope? Do they need defense against lasso training or something? Jack regroups with Blackbeard to reach their destination, and while the entrance is a little cool, the fountain itself is pretty damn boring. This is like the Amazon version of a public school fountain. Does it taste like lead paint as well? Barbossa and the Spanish also show up, but before they fight, Jack has a plan to let Barbossa and Blackbeard duke it out.
Let them fight each other, or we lay back, watch, have a drink, play some wagers.
Actually, would prefer Jack's idea, but why give the audience what they want now? The missionary gets stabbed, so the mermaid takes him to... They never say, and honestly, I don't think anyone's ever cared enough to ask. And Blackbeard gets stabbed by a poisoned sword with clumsy-ass Angelica stabbing her hand too. Alright, they explain this so simply. One chalice gives you life, the other takes it away. The one with the mermaid's tear gives you life, but if you don't drink it at the same time, you turn into a pumpkin and the monkey becomes gremlins and... Oh, screw it. You know it's so Jack can trick Blackbeard into betraying his daughter and picking the wrong one. My God, that flowed so naturally.
He chose poorly.
So what does he do with the woman he said he had feelings for like no other?
One pistol, one shot.
Love. Barbossa takes Blackbeard's ship. Jack gives honestly an okay speech about why he didn't drink from the fountain.
Better to not know which moment may be your last. Every morsel of your entire being alive to the infinite mystery of it all.
Yeah, also just doing this movie's math on how to drink from it would probably kill you anyway. And we end on the most underwhelming note any of these movies have ever ended on.
It's a pirate's life for me. Savvy.
Oh, are we done? That ended more like a Seth Rogen comedy than a Pirates film. Whatever. We didn't film it like it was the last one, so it won't be the last one. Oh, but don't get too comfortable, Jack, because that voodoo doll that barely did anything in this makes an appearance in the end credits. Oh, what crazy possibilities are in store for... We never see it again. Why do you keep pretending these are planned out? And that was Pirates of the Caribbean... line on Stranger Tides. Honestly, I think it could have been a lot stranger. I guess I can't say it's an awful movie because, in many respects, it doesn't try hard enough to be awful. I didn't like it World's End, but for all its faults, it did take risks. There was passion behind it. This one just leaves you with so little, especially in the memorable moments department. Nobody has any drive that comes across, with the exception of Rush, who's always entertaining as hell. It just feels like a Pirates sequel that exists just to be another Pirates sequel. I wasn't facepalming in pain watching it or anything, but is it better to get through a memorable disaster or stare blankly at nothing? I guess you can make the call on that, as Pirates Month is almost complete with one more film. So drink up, me hearties. It's a pirate's life for at least one more go. I'm a Nostalgia Critic guy, remember? So you don't have to. Avast me mateys! Hunter S. Sparrow here, wrapping up Pirates Month. Joining me as always is my crew of Sparrows. Avast me unsavvy savvies! There's still so much more plundering to...
Still?
What?
Are we still doing the Jack Sparrow thing?
Aye, it is still Pirates Month!
Yeah, like 5 weeks ago.
Which in internet time is like 5 years ago.
Come on, man, we're on like the final one.
Exactly. Nobody cared about Pirates by the time the last one came out.
Preposterous. How could you forget about the final installment, Pirates of the Caribbean?
Die Harder?
Electric Boogaloo?
Golden Receiver.
The Search for Curly's Gold?
No, I'm pretty sure there's a squeakle involved.
Just admit it, no one cared about the Pirates movies by the time the last one came out.
Okay, that may be true, but we have a code to follow.
It's more like a guideline.
Well, either way, we're following it, so get a costume!
Why?
While we wait for them, let's look over the final Pirates movie, Pirates of the Caribbean. Back in the habit, red, white, and blonde, the revenge of Kitty galore. God, I'm tired of speaking through my teeth. That's what it's called. While Stranger Tides didn't pull in the numbers they wanted, Disney thought they still might be able to squeeze out one more Pirates movie. The only problem was, it came out in 2017. The fad had died down, and audiences were finally getting Pirates fatigue. And honestly, as Pirates movies go, this isn't the worst one. I can't say it's very good, and a lot of that is due to similar problems from the sequels, but it does have a handful of good scenes in it. It's not forgettable like Stranger Tides, it's not a homework assignment like at World's End, but it is a lot more of the tired elements we've seen a million times in these movies.
However, as those tired elements go, there are one or two moments of creative life to it. How do these scenes get bogged down by an onslaught of meh? Well, we're gonna take a closer look to find out. With the help, of course, of my visual representation of a popular fad.
Hey! Who is your favorite fearless hero?
I mean a past fad.
Yeah, but fads are meant to be passed on.
Everything now is Puss in Boots 2, baby!
Well, if you can't beat them harder. Wrap up Pirates Month with Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Get a good look at that, everybody, because you will constantly keep asking yourself, what are they looking for in this movie again? Yeah, well, this one's not quite as complicated as the other sequels. It's still complicated. As we open with Will Turner's son, Henry, rowing his boat into the sea. Keep an eye out for nooses, kid. These sequels are not very kind to boys your age. Or you can just kill yourself and knock out the middleman. That works. He's actually doing this to get the attention of his father, as Will Turner saves him aboard the Flying Dutchman. And you know what? I've been pretty mean to this character. Yeah, maybe I've shit on him too much for being so bland and unnecessary. Why don't I start over and give him a fair shot again?
You stay away from Jack. Leave the sea forever.
That's the voice he's using? Oh, this file just got opened back up. New comedic evidence has come to light.
You have to stop acting like
a pirate.
My curse will never be broken.
This ship is full of pufferfish, ready to believe in good.
He says he wants to find the Trident of Poseidon to lift his curse, but he's told it's impossible. Cut to 9 years later, as once more this series says, we must have a Turner in this for some reason. So let's make it his offspring, Son of Bland. Played now by Brenton Thwaites.
Sir, look at your charts. I believe you're sailing us into the Devil's Triangle.
It's like a mix between the Bermuda Triangle and the Triangle of Sadness. We can't take any more heavy-handedness.
This is treason.
And this is my treat, son.
Of course, Henry is right, and the ship is slaughtered by a supernatural entity known as Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem.
Yo-ho, friendo.
The compass which he holds condemned us to this hell on earth. I want to behold the daylight again.
I'm sorry, you sound like an asthmatic Spanish ASMR drive-thru.
Yeah, sadly Bardem is kind of like Machine from the last movie. I love this actor, but he doesn't add anything. Listen to his first line.
What are you?
Isn't that the most generic line said in the most generic way? I also think while the hair's still moving like it's underwater is neat, it's way too distracting. Bardem is good at either subtle expressions or over-the-top expressions. You want to see his face, and the hair just keeps getting in the way. It's like watching him in Skyfall, but his face is covered in internet ads. I guess I can look past it, but I shouldn't have to.
Now, it's time to hunt a pirate.
They put a distracting filter on his voice, too. His voice is already awesome. You don't need it. Rather than all this adding to his performance, it really feels like it takes away from it. Pretty much everything around this character is either underwhelming or at the most, fine. Them walking on water is neat. The ship and crew, I guess, are creative, but they just look and act like another ghostly pirate threat. Do they really stand out much from Barbossa or Jones's crew? Can you even tell the difference right away in this lineup? Nothing feels upped, especially 14 years after the original. Speaking of which, where's our
Ladies can't do that
character? I confess that I am not a witch, that I am a woman of science, with nothing but a diary from a father I never knew.
I confess I'm full of exposition. We all are, my child. This is Karina, played by Kaya Scalario, who, like everyone else, isn't bad. She just has little to go off of. She's clearly smart and knows about astronomy, so everyone calls her a witch. But darn it, she's not a witch! And that's her whole character.
You're a witch. Am I a witch for having catalogued over 200 stars? Witch!
Yeah, once again defining someone by what she isn't rather than what she is. With that said, some repeats are welcomed. Like Jack Sparrow once again gets a pretty funny intro. What Depp's lawyers saw every morning when they came to get payment for the trial. It looks like he's not alone, though.
Hold your fire!
That's your wife.
Change my mind, open fire!
Francis?
Jeez, I figured you had a sense of humor.
Well, I don't quite see the math and how that many horses could pull an entire building. I have to say this action sequence is pretty fun. It's cool because it looks like it's mostly done with practical effects and not CG. And I also have to admit, I'm glad they're finally putting color back in these movies. This at least doesn't pretend it's a black and white film soaked in Linda Blair puke. On that note, whenever it's not a practical effect and they use CG, it's usually not real enough or surreal enough to be impressive. How many horses are pulling that again? While that's going on, Karina sneaks into several different places to find the answer she's looking for. Well, I can see a lawsuit from her coming soon.
No woman's ever handled my Herschel.
Penis!
It is kind of cool that not only do they bring back the crew from the original trilogy, but also took a few from the last film. I thought they were funny actors, and I'm glad they're given another movie to be in. For the moment.
Right then. Never say with Captain Jack Sparrow again. Tell you that.
Come lads, if there's anything Disney has taught us is that there's always room for more adventure, whether we want them or not. Karina meets up with Henry. As it turns out, they're both after the same thing.
This is the diary of Galileo Galilei. It was left to me by my father. He believed I could find what no man has ever found.
A pirate movie under 2 hours. Yeah, keep looking. She gets caught though. Oh man, if only she had a rope! And Jack roams the streets without a crew. Like I said, the non-CG slapstick's pretty good. In one of my favorite moments, Jack is desperate for booze, so he trades his compass for rum, knowing it has a curse that if he gives it away, it'll unleash his greatest fear, which surprisingly is an American box office.
We are free!
I kind of love he knows he's unleashing more torment for himself and all he has to say is...
Pirate's life.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Who's the man we've been looking for?
Jack gets, say it with me now,
Captured!
When Henry finds him and says he needs his help.
The moon has turned to blood, the trident will be found, and you could be the one who holds the sea and with it become all that you once were.
That is a great impression of me whenever exposition is talked about. You know it's like 90% of the dialogue in these movies, right? In kind of a weird switch-up, Keith Richards doesn't return as his dad, but instead we have Paul McCartney as his uncle.
Uncle Jack! Jackie boy!
This is gonna sound blasphemous. I actually like this cameo better. It's short, intentionally pointless, just the right amount of odd, and doesn't make me laugh with the joke he tells, but rather the reaction from another guy with the joke he tells.
Skeleton goes into a bar, orders a beer and a mop.
I don't care what anyone says, that laugh is the funniest thing in the movie. The next 10 minutes or so in this is actually pretty goddamn great. Jack and Karina are about to be executed, argue like children for who can get the better final words, and are kinda saved by Henry.
Sanctuary!
With the help of Jack's crew. The choreography and imaginative slapstick in this is so good. It actually feels like something out of the first 2 pirate movies. It's honestly so funny, it kinda gets me angry because it tricks me into thinking there's hope for the rest of the movie. Even the name of the ship they sail off in is hilarious. Son of a bitch, don't do this to me, movie. I know you're gonna suck the rest of the time. The only thing that could give me even more hope is... Okay, I need a minute to appreciate the few fleeting moments of this movie being good. It's gonna suck later. It's gonna suck later. So Barbossa still has Blackbeard's ship from the last movie, but he's intercepted by Salazar.
Every time I tap my sword, one of your men will die.
Boy, you really don't know this guy, do you? Whatever you do, don't kill Frank. Thank God I hated Frank.
I be the only one that can lead you to it.
They agree to find Sparrow together as Jack tries to get the map no man can read from Karina.
If you could read it, then it wouldn't be called the map no man can read.
Give me the map.
It doesn't yet exist. I'm an astronomer.
She breeds donkeys.
There's no donkey.
Well, then how do you breed them?
Let me start again.
Stop pretending this is clever! She reveals the map is in the stars, which none of them understand, despite that being a very common method ships use to find their way. And they decide to cut them loose. Back on land, the captain of the guard, played by David Wenham, uses an actual witch, played by... She's barely in this, so I'm not going to butcher that. As our two lovebirds reveal why they're on their quest.
It's the only link to who I am, who my father was.
So we've both spent our lives searching for our fathers.
Maybe we have the same father.
You need to stop talking.
Yeah, I need to stop talking.
Meanwhile, Salazar reveals how Jack bested him when he became captain of a ship as a team. And a fact that sometimes looks good, but other times looks like Bella Ramsey.
Ship to the aft!
They find Jack's ship, and I do love how there's a permanent rain cloud over them, like the whole ship is Eeyore. And they send zombie sharks after them. Now, zombie sharks sounds like a fun idea, but again, they're shot like we're supposed to believe they're really there. Like they show them in slow motion so we can be wowed by them, and don't you just feel nothing looking at that? You could put CGI Scooby-Doo in there and I'd be the same amount of blown away. Come on, guys, let's head out before they make a tornado out of us. Now, there is a scene where Jack uses one to pull his boat. That's fun because it's not relying on looking real, it's relying on looking creative. But sometimes the movie can be a little too creative. Like I looked down to reply to a text message, and when I looked back up, this was going on.
It's your wedding day.
Boys, let's get on with this. You may kiss the bride.
Are we just in a different Pirates movie now? What happened in those few seconds I looked away? This random character that I don't think we've ever seen lives on this island with a bunch of other randos. Jack owes him a debt like he does to everyone, and he wants him to marry his sister. All of this is explained in seconds and tossed aside just as quickly. Hell, I think I actually took more time to explain it than the movie did.
Jack, we meet again.
I've come once again to save a movie that probably can't be saved.
I've come for the Trident of Poseidon.
The film just pretends the past weird-ass 2 minutes didn't happen. Yeah, it's kind of like Eternals to the MCU. And Barbossa demands the pearl back, which Jack keeps in a bottle from the last film. This is what everyone thought Sea Monkeys would do. Our heroes get captured again, and you know, I hope these two got paid extra for rope burn. They spend more time tied up than a 50 Shades graphic novel by William Marston.
She will follow her star, or we'll all die together.
Barbossa releases Karina, though, and orders her to guide them to their treasure. And looking back, it's not that they don't mention the Triton that much, it's more they don't focus on what it can do and why it drives them. In the first few films, we constantly see why the pirates want to lift the curse, why Will wants to save Elizabeth, why Jack wants to be free of Jones. But once again, like the majority of the sequels, we're just told about it here. Nothing is really felt. The closest scene might be this exchange between Karina and Barbossa. As he puts together, he might share a certain connection with her.
This was given to me by my father. He was clearly a man of science.
Scurvy science, as he called it.
This diary is my birthright.
Birthright? You can take a bath whenever you want. I will not start now. He confesses to Jack she may in fact be his daughter.
Shall I tell you now who, what we both know to be true?
Who knew my little bowsman could swim? You mean seaman? Yeah, I wanted to mix up the wordplay.
Isn't working.
Also, like you right now.
Touche.
Salazar catches up to them in what should be a really cool action sequence, jumping in between ships and fighting off a statue at the bow is sadly kind of lame because while the day shots are bright and colorful, the night shots are flat and murky, almost like, you guessed it, a pirate sequel. They make up for this a little bit though, as after they fight them off, they reach their destination, an island that perfectly reflects the stars.
Finish it, Karina.
For my father.
I do it for him.
Again, scenes like this do make it rough to say there's nothing to this movie. Returning the red crystal opens up the waters, revealing the Triton. Wait, I remember how this goes. Doesn't Julie Andrews voice a sea monster and someone walk through a waterfall? Actually, maybe Depp shouldn't stay around for that. You know, for someone who didn't watch the trial, I sure do make a lot of jokes about it. Salazar takes over Henry's body because I guess he can do that. But he leaves the body when he gets a hold of the Triton. What the hell did he say? You leave that homicidal figment alone. They figure out breaking the Triton breaks every curse at sea, so they do that and Salazar becomes a real boy. I guess that means the curse of the water is broken too. I don't know. And the ship tries to pull them up without somehow falling in themselves. Salazar follows them though, vowing to get revenge, so Barbossa sacrifices himself to take him down.
Which makes sense. How the hell is he gonna climb with a peg leg?
Who am I to you?
Treasure.
I was hoping to sell you at a fair price, but I don't think that flies anymore.
Barbossa gets killed off. I know. As Karina finally puts together her connection to him. So, my father's dead because Jack wanted a bottle of rum. Forgettable. I should have gotten tequila.
No!
Jack sails off into the sunset and Henry meets up with his father, who has been lifted from his curse.
Henry. Yes, Father. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a franchise.
So it's a happy day for the dull pirate Roberts. Even Elizabeth appears to say, hey, Elizabeth appeared, despite being only 4 years older than her supposed son is. This does raise the question, though, if the curse is lifted, who takes people to the afterlife? Well, set course for sequel baiting as we get this end credit sequence. That's right, Davy Jones! Should stay as far away from this as Depp is right now. This isn't the worst sequel, but it's still not very good. There are a handful of moments that make it fun from time to time, but nowhere near enough to say it's worth checking out. I guess it's a better note to end on than the previous two, but that still doesn't make it a great note. A shame, because these movies started out with a lot of promise, but somewhere got lost focusing on the wrong things. Complicated plots, forced in characters or character types, pretending this was all one planned out story when honestly I think we all would have been fine with each movie just standing on its own. However you rank these films, it is still impressive that from an idea many considered a sellout or half-baked, rose an iconic franchise that people will remember years from now. That later would become a sellout and half-baked. But what can Disney say? That's a pirate's life.
And that's about it for Pirates Month. For real this time. Stay scurvy, me mates, and until next time, maybe I'll review this bad next.